Hey everybody, come on in. It's the Shawn Yankey Show. Welcome back. This is a live interactive chat show where we can talk about absolutely anything. So get in here. Get in here and like and share. Get this out. I give a little bit of time for people to get in because I need time. That's what the whole point is of that intro is I am sharing and getting it out. We're live on 3 different platforms right now. We're back on YouTube, guys. I won my appeal. It only lasted 2 days, our ban on YouTube. And we're back. So we're on YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook right now, live. So take part in the discussion. Come on in, join in. Tonight, we're going to do conspiracy theories. My favorite topic. I was prepping for the show, getting ready for tonight. We were going to talk about other things. I had other things planned. I had half a monologue written. And I decided I don't want to talk about any of this. I'm sick of what's actually happening in the world. I realize it's the elephant in the room, but for a second, can we talk about something else? So I've got a video I want to show you, a conspiracy theory video of mine. It's original Shawn Yankey, and it's an interesting one, and it's overlooked. It's one I've played before, so a conspiracy theory and chill regular on our regular night would probably recognize this one, but it's the story of Ong's hat. It's a fun one, and then we can kick around any conspiracy theories you guys want tonight. We can talk about absolutely anything, but if you don't mind indulging me, I want to focus on my favorite thing, and the fun ones, if possible. We can stick with the fun ones. I almost picked my 9/11 video, which I love, my latest one, and I didn't go with that one because it was too serious. Ong's hat is better because it's not that it's not serious. It just allows us to explore a lot of the fantastical areas of conspiracy theories, which is fun. But like I said, I got that planned, and we're going to talk about whatever you want. But please comment, take part in the show, because it is a comment-driven show. This is a discussion show. It's something different. This is the 32nd episode. Can you guys believe that? We've already been on for 32 episodes. But we're just a baby show, and I depend on you guys to help grow and support this show. So like this video, share it out, and most important, take part in the show. I really appreciate it, and it helps us do better in the algorithm. Any interaction. So if you want to support the show for free, smash the like buttons. Easiest way to do it. Plus, I love seeing that. I'm into buttons and flashy things. I like watching the hearts and stuff go up the screen. So that's a treat for me. So you're rewarding me too. It's multi-tiered how much you're actually doing by hitting the react button. You'd be amazed. But if you'd like to do more, if you're just like, hey, I got to do more. This show's amazing. I want to help you. You can become a supporter of ours on Patreon. But that's enough commercial. Let me say hi to everybody. Like I said, we're back on YouTube. So if you're here on YouTube, please comment. But let's start with Facebook. Hey, Helen. Hey, Marie. How you doing? Top fan. I love seeing my badges are back. Dolores, hey. Helen's here. Helen, how come you're not a top fan? You comment all the time. You're in trouble. You showed me something else today on Facebook. They're messing with you. Something's wrong, because you're definitely a top fan. Richard's here. Hey. Leslie, Joan, Raymond, Heath, Brett. Man, everybody's here. Rose, you made it. Dale, Elizabeth. He says Yankee and the Ranters. Thank you for sharing. Marie says I've only missed one show. Wow. Yeah, Heath, not pulled yet. Not pulled yet. But tonight we're going to take another crack at it. We have been banned shortly on YouTube. We had a 3-day, 2 or 3 days. It felt like 10, but it was probably only 2 or 3. And I lost track of time. I was so excited when I saw it was back today. I changed gears. That and the news is depressing. It just is. We can get into all that later if you want. But first, I want to go ahead and play the Ong's Hat video and set the tone so that maybe we can have some fun tonight, talk about conspiracies, because it is Full Bowl Friday, and we all know that's a fun show. So I didn't want to talk about the funniest thing in the news. I'll just kick one out real quick, just to get it out there. Something small talk, because I want to give a little more time for people to get here. So we're going to start the video in a second. But Joe Biden's dumbass was on the radio, with a radio show today, in an interview, and the guy told him, Charlemagne was the host name, told him that he had more questions. And Joe Biden actually said, "You've got more questions? Well, I'll tell you what. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black." Now, Charlemagne is very black. I'm looking at a picture of him right now. He's extremely black. His name, for instance, is Charlemagne the God. And he is blacker than the color black. But Joe Biden says he's not. I thought that was hilarious. But that was the funniest thing I could find. Everything else is depressing. You know, I don't want to talk about the Rona, and it's all wall-to-wall Rona. And then there's something else that's throwing a wrench in my gears, and I'm going to be honest with you about this one too. My ear is clogged. You ever had that? It's the worst. I'm so distracted by it. I can't stop thinking about it. So you guys are going to have to carry me a little bit tonight and throw out conspiracies to talk about. Let's have fun. Let's have a good time. You know, because reality right now is too real. It's a living conspiracy theory hell, what we're heading towards and what I'm afraid is happening. And I want to distract myself from it, if you don't mind. So I'm going to bring up this video and show it to you guys. And afterwards, we can hang out and talk about anything you want, like we always do. But let me switch the set here. All right, so tonight I'm going to play you this video from my YouTube channel. If you dig it, check it out over on the YouTube channel. I'll link it after the video's done playing for Facebook. But this video is the story of Ong's hat. It's a real interesting conspiracy theory. Check this out, and afterwards we'll hang out. Welcome back to Conspiracy Theories and Chill. On this episode, we're going to look into a very fascinating conspiracy theory that originates from a tiny little village with the odd name of Ong's Hat, located in New Jersey, where some say that a duo of rogue scientists who were living off-grid in a small commune created a portal to another dimension that still exists there, hidden today. Remember to like and share, but most important, subscribe to follow our channel and keep up on our future videos. Ong's Hat, New Jersey is a popular tourist attraction to this day, and the reason for that is that many people believe that a portal to another dimension exists there. Now, there isn't really anything to see at Ong's Hat. That whole area of New Jersey became less and less populated with the dying out of local industry, and Ong's Hat has no residents, and is mostly just piles of rubble and overgrown abandoned buildings. Matter of fact, before the events that we're going to cover in this video, Ong's Hat's most interesting story was how the little town got its strange name. See, Ong was a common name in that area back in the time of the town's founding, and it's said that a man by that name that lived back then was quite a ladies' man. It's also said that he was very fancy as well and owned a beautiful silk hat. And one night, he was out at a dance doing his thing and working the ladies, and a jealous lady is said to have snatched that beautiful silk hat right off his head in a fit of rage and stomped on it, and then flung it as high as she could up into a tree. Now Ong was furious, of course, and devastated about the loss of his beautiful hat, but it was gone now, and it belonged to the tree, and it stayed there, and it is said to have become a landmark, and that's how this town has earned its strange name. Cute little story, right? But other than that, it would have just become another forgotten ghost town. But, based on interest created by a book entitled Ong's Hat, The Beginning, in which the author, Joseph Matheny, presents a history of events that, according to his book, took place in this area of New Jersey. So Ong's Hat is still an area of great interest among conspiracy theorists. Now, what Matheny presents in his book is disputed by many and is widely considered to be a hoax. But the purpose of this discussion isn't really to prove it either way, just to present the story, and then we can all come to our own conclusions. The story of Ong's Hat really begins with the Newark-founded Moorish Science Temple. Now, the members of this small sect traveled the world learning different philosophies and spiritual practices and such from all different sorts of masters and teachers that they seeked out all across the earth. Well, one of these travelers and members, named Wally Fard, bought up 200 acres in 1978 in the New Jersey Pine Barrens. There, he and a small group consisting of runaway boys and a pair of lesbian anarchists formed a new exclusive sect of their own, which they called the Moorish Science Ashram. Soon after, Fard began publishing a series of newsletters proclaiming his beliefs and distributing them, and soon many others began flocking to his land to join his commune. Now, among these were two scientists who were looked down on and ostracized by the mainstream for their radical ideas, Frank and Althea Dobbs. These twins from Texas, who were raised in a UFO-worshipping cult founded by their father and were already used to living life on the fringe, settled into this commune and set up a laboratory for their research. Now, it is said that it didn't take long for them to start making discoveries that blew the minds of the people of the commune. But their research hadn't just begun. It had started at Princeton, where they had developed a series of equations that had led them to a discovery that they referred to as cognitive chaos. And when they presented their thesis, the university dismissed them, and their research continued at the commune at Ong's Hat. Now, in the commune, they were free to explore their ideas. And their theories were based around the idea that humans could tap into the unused portions of their brains and attain superhuman abilities like self-healing and even stopping the aging process. Now, based on what they had seen coming out of these twins' laboratory, the ashrams adopted their research into their own philosophy, and together they founded the Institute of Chaos Studies. Badass name, right? But think for a second of the possibilities of this scenario. Two scientists pushing the limits of the mind and reality with a devoted group of followers behind them. Within 3 years, it is said that the twins in the Institute of Chaos Studies had invented a device that they called the Gate. Now, with this device, they would hook people up to computers and chart their brainwaves, experimenting with sex, drugs, and mind wave manipulators to learn how to control the chaos that they had found within the mind. The Gate would lead to other devices, and one of these, called the Egg, was a kind of modified sensory deprivation tank that would fit a human being and equipment. And when it was tested, the egg is said to have disappeared and then moments later rematerialized. The young man on board claimed to have traveled to another dimension. And he claimed that it was exactly like our world, but uninhabited. It is then said that the ashrams and the members of the Institute of Chaos Studies began traveling back and forth to this other dimension and exploring it. Soon after this, there was a chemical spill at nearby Fort Dix, and the ashrams and members of the Institute of Chaos Studies had to flee the area. But they didn't head out in the usual way. They are said to have fled the area interdimensionally, that they used the egg to transport themselves and all of their possessions to an alternate dimension, and that the gate and portal still exists there today, and that they travel back and forth. Now, that's one version of what happened to the ashrams and the ICS members. But another is that this research, and in particular the gate itself, attracted the attention of the government. Now, according to some, this interest led to a violent confrontation in which the group was slaughtered and their research was confiscated. But in all scenarios, they are gone. Now, did they go to a different dimension? Did their research get confiscated? Did they really make the discoveries that they claim to have made? Is the legend of Ong's hat even real? Now, officially, the entire thing is considered to have been a hoax created by the author Joseph Matheny and his friends. It is an elaborate hoax and has some interesting evidence, but that is also all said to have been fabricated by the author. Now, among the evidence for the events is a book catalog called the Incunabella Catalog, said to have been posted by Matheny himself on the internet. As a matter of fact, Matheny even says he made it all up, including the Incunabella and all of the evidence as a game. But to this day, people still believe in this story and the evidence despite all of that. So why is that? Well, there was a commune in that area in that time. We talked about them. And there was a nuclear leak at Fort Dix and many strange military exercises in that area around that particular time. And that's where it all gets difficult. See, as viewers of this show know, I am a contrarian, and this part is where the Ong's Hat story takes a weird turn for me. For decades, researchers have pored over all this evidence that was, according to the official narrative, made up by a science fiction author and his friends. Now, I didn't take the time to pore through it myself, and as I said, we're just exploring the theory here today. But people have investigated it for decades, and they believe that it is real to this day. Now, does that make it real? No, of course not, but it does make it interesting. The idea that this did happen and was covered up is interesting as well. Imagine that this story is true for a minute, that two scientists and a small commune of believers uncovered some secrets about the human mind, reality itself, and what if they discovered travel to another dimension? What would those in power do if they found out about that? I don't know. Would they storm the compound, wipe them out, and take whatever they had discovered? I think that they would. I also think that they could. But did they? Or did a sci-fi author and his scientist friends really create a hoax so elaborate that it has survived for this long? I found compelling evidence from both sides on this one. The believers are painted as crazy, but are they? The believers are always painted as crazy. They always make it look like you have to be insane to believe something like this. Well, there's evidence for things like this. And one of the smartest men that ever lived, Nikola Tesla, had experiments similar to things like this, talked about things similar to this. And this melding of quantum physics and deep religious belief in drugs and sex and all the things that they talk about that they had done, it's not unbelievable. And it's not even unbelievable that those in power would take that technology and that research. I believe if something can be done, it probably is being done. It probably has been done. Or someone's attempting to do it. You know, we live in a madhouse, in a world of lies. So who knows really what is true? As I've said, Ong's Hat is said to have just been an elaborate hoax. Even the author himself came out and said that he made it all up, because he says it started to ruin his life. Conspiracy theorists showing up at his house, trying to get him to tell the truth of it all. But if you look into it, in the Incunabella catalog itself, it's very detailed, it's very in-depth, and it includes a lot of scientific research. And then all of the other things that had to have been put together, like the documents that came out of the ashrams and Fard's publishing of his newsletters. All of this, it's very elaborate. Now they say it's the earliest version of what they call today an ARG, basically a living novel, a role-playing game. Now, it could be, or it could be a massive cover-up. Like I said, we didn't take a deep dive into this one. We didn't try to prove whether or not it was real. I thought it was an interesting story. It was a recommended topic by Babels, so we looked into it. It was very interesting. And if there's any interest, I'll look into it deeper. Ong's Hat actually turned out to be an old conspiracy, but as I told you, is one that lives to this day. And Ong's Hat is a popular tourist attraction to this day. there is still interest in this story, and it is still out there. So if you'd like more information on this story, I'll include some links in the description on how you can learn more about the legend of Ong's Hat. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Conspiracy Theories and Chill from me on Things and Stuff. Alright, so that was the video that I wanted to show you guys. Let me come over here. Back up here. And that was the story of Ong's Hat. That video, I made that video in December of last year. So not that long ago. It hasn't even been 6 months yet. But it's only at like 400 views. And it's a really interesting story. I would expect for it to have taken off better than that. But my content is heavily suppressed on every platform. It's really ridiculous, honestly. I wish I hadn't closed that. I wanted to share the link to it here. But if I'm being quiet, someone let me know, because I can barely hear. I can only hear out of one ear anyway, because my ear is clogged and it is distracting the hell out of me. I'm going to share this over here on Facebook so you guys can share that video or watch it if you want. If you didn't see the whole thing or you missed some of it. But Brent says that must have been some good mushrooms, right? They were mixing drugs and technology. It's kind of interesting what they were doing in this compound. He said Biden's tried to lose the nomination and now the presidential election due to the comments he has made. If he's not trying, then it's even sadder. You know what I mean? He's got to be trying. There's got to be effort involved in what he's doing. But what did you guys think of the video? What did you think of the story of Ong's Hat? Helen says the audio's good, so I'm being loud enough. Okay. What do you think of the light? I tried a different shade today. Am I prettier than yesterday? Or do you even notice the difference? It's probably something that only I will notice. I'm trying to get it right. It has a lot of settings. I finally got a decent light. And you'll notice half my face is not in shadow. So improving. And today was a lot of work doing that kind of stuff. Like, I got caught up with the news, prepping for the show, and that was just depressing. That bummed me out. But the YouTube stuff, finding out I was back on YouTube made me change everything. I had to change gears. So I freaked out. I was so excited. So I wanted to do something cool, something fun, and get into conspiracy theories. Marie said it looks better than yesterday. It's not, it has a blue. Raymond asked if it's a blue light. It has white, it has blue, and it has like an off-white, tannish, like a retro color. You know what I mean? Like the old retro photos. That's what it's on right now, is that setting. And then each setting has like 10 brightness settings. So right now I have it high brightness. Not high, but higher than I wanted to have it, but I thought it looked good. And then I could go down a little bit. I'm going to press the right button here. See? Just a tad. And that's where it's more comfortable for my eyes. But I didn't think it looked as good. But is there even a difference between those two settings? Joan says Biden has been telling people not to vote for him right from the beginning if you don't agree with him. He'll straight out tell you to vote for the other Biden. That seriously came out of his mouth. I wish I was making that shit up, but it seriously came out of his mouth. He tells people all the time not to vote for him. He doesn't even want to be doing this. They're not trying to win. They're not. They're trying to make it believable enough that they tried to attempt to beat Trump. They don't give a shit about beating Trump. It's not part of their agenda. They're fine with Trump. Everything's going dandy under Trump. There's no complaints. So they're not looking to change a thing on that level. Everything's good. Trump's a fantastic distraction. Keeps everybody very busy. Those on the left, out of their mind with fear and panic, can't think straight, do whatever they're told. As long as they're told, it gets rid of the orange monster. And then those on the right have these delusions of grandeur for the man, that they think he's some sort of a hero. It gets into serious hero worship with the Trump stuff on the right. The extreme level. Same shit happens on the left. Don't get me wrong. I'm not calling anybody out here. I'm just stating fact. People don't like to face that the man is very popular on the right. And to some, like the second coming. They just think the world of him. And they really believe the reason why, I think someone just knocked on my door. The reason why is they really believe that he's taking down the deep state and the establishment. And if true, I would be the first to line up and kneel at their feet and say I was wrong. I don't believe it. I want to. It's kind of like Santa Claus for me. Like, I really want to believe it. And when you're little, like, you want to believe it's so cool. And although when you think back on it, it's kind of a creepy story. It's maybe a bad analogy, but I want to believe it. I just don't. Rose says Biden sides with Trump on, wait. Biden is pretty much Trump, but less charismatic, with less ability to string words together. And it's not that, again, it's not even that Trump's that great at it, although he's better than people want to give him credit for. But Biden is a Republican, always has been. He's probably further to the right, really, than Trump honestly is. Because a lot of what Trump's doing right now, I believe, is a show. I think he's playing to his audience and performing. That's what I mostly think he's doing, honestly. And that's all I can be with you guys on here. I have friends. It's definitely knocking. It's probably the FBI. It's conspiracy night. It's not our regular conspiracy night either, so I might have alerted my agents. You know, they're out there in their van and they're like, what the hell's going on? He's not supposed to talk about this stuff on this night. I don't even remember what we were talking about anymore. Marie said, did you see how he, like Hillary, kicked the press out of a Wall Street meeting, telling them something different than the people? No, but it doesn't surprise me. Helen says, you just know Biden's holding back fuck off every time he says vote for someone else. He threatens to fight people all the time. He really does. This is a fact. It's who's running for president on the Democratic side. That's the shoo-in. That's who beat Bernie Sanders. Believe that shit? If you do, there's a lot of other things you probably believe. You probably believe in Russiagate, which is leading back to Obama. It is looking very much like Obama orchestrated that entire thing. Now, that's very interesting, isn't it? Why? Why for? Why would he need to do that? What, are you setting up a backup plan in case Hillary doesn't win? In case the worst happens? You end up with a reality TV star as president. You're trying to figure out how to keep that from happening and do something about it if in any way it does. Because they even started a lot of this shit that they tried to blame on Trump. But it's leading back to Obama, and they're investigating him. They're at least trying to. You know, these people are supposedly untouchable. I'd love to see them be taken down. And this is big. Trump's calling it Obamagate. So that's pretty cool. I like that it's being exposed that Obama is very different than what he presented, the way he presented himself. He was very good at presenting himself, very presentable, very personable, very charming. And that's why he was so dangerous. That's why he was able to get so much done. People don't think or realize how much he was actually able to do. When you think of his real agenda, if you think his agenda was what he told you it was, and you think maybe he didn't, you think he failed in some ways, but if you know his true agenda, he was very successful. Raymond said that they brought you a joint. Who did? Where? Oh, the agents? I wish they would. I try sending them signals all the time. Anytime I have empty pipes, which is way too often for somebody that works as many hours a week as I do. But anytime I do, I try to mention to my agents, hey, come on, guys. You know I'm mouthier when you fill my pipes up. They never do. Speaking of joints, this is off topic, but we do that quite often around here. I was at the dispensary today because it is Full Pipe Friday, and they had some pre-rolls. One of them was $50. All right, now I've already told you that cannabis is overpriced where I live, but I picked this thing up, and I was like, what is this? I had to know why a pre-roll, a joint, is worth $50. Well, turns out in this joint was 2 grams of flour and half a gram of wax. I thought I had been on a moon ride, but apparently I have not. And I am not going to pay $50 to go on one unless it's a holiday or my birthday or something. Maybe if it was one of those things, maybe I'd splurge on that thing. But man, can you imagine? Yeah. Someone's definitely knocking on my door. I know it for sure. I'm not getting up. I'm not doing it. Everybody in this house knows what I'm doing right now. So if someone's knocking on the door, that's just crazy. And the house better be on fire. Because if it's not, there's literally no reason to be knocking when it's not locked. And you could literally just walk right in and tell me what's going on. Is someone hurt? Has the dog escaped? Send me a message. Or is the FBI kicking in the front door? Because it's going to be a short struggle. Not armed. It's not going to be like when they raided William Cooper's house. Raymond says Biden didn't win. The establishment sent Obama to tell Bernie it was time to sit down. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Obama was the last call that was made before Bernie did that little stream and bowed out. He was half out already. He had 1 foot out the door already. He was backing out slowly. But that was the nail in the coffin. Raymond's right. He said Obama increased his net worth in the process greatly, greatly, while in office. You know, Sandy says best thing about Trump is that it has woken a lot of sheep to question. Very good point. Very good point. I like that. I am personally okay. I'm just like the establishment. I'm fine with Trump staying president. You know, I like that people are awake and aware. Getting woke up and active. And it's alerting them. I like that they're not sound asleep. That there's not a great salesman selling them the bullshit. I like that. It's good. He says the aliens are coming to get me. It's possible. They're coming. You know that, right? I mean, the disclosure event is coming. They're flirting with it. They're flirting with it hot and heavy now. They're already releasing UFO videos and acknowledging them as real. It's totally coming. But I don't think it's going to be what they say it is. That's just my opinion, though. But they're totally going to tell you about aliens soon, I think. Brett says, don't smoke too much or you will sleep your money away. Man, if I smoked a $50 joint and went to sleep, I would be pissed. I got to have me an espresso and 5-hour energy drink and a Monster and just be set when I smoke that thing, because I got to guarantee I'm up for hours. I'm not taking a $50 nap. You know what I'm saying? Rose says same thing happened when he ran against Hillary. Obama was the final straw. You're right. Very, very true. You're right. Well, he's the ref. It's a show. You know, I got fooled. I got fooled bad. But it is. It's a show, and he's the ref. It's WWE for people that don't like wrestling. And he's the one that tells you it's time to wrap the fight up. It's time to quit. Rose says Project Bluebeam. Mm-hmm. It's going to be used in the great... I think of it as the Great Deception, because it's not going to be what they're telling you. Even if what they show you is an alien life form, it's still not going to be what they say it is. You know, they're never going to would they ever tell us the truth about anything. The full truth. Never. About anything. But this is all going to be a lie, and they are going to use Project Bluebeam against us. You know, people think that's crazy because it has to do with holograms and making it look like things are going on and happening that aren't. But they made an event happen like that in the 70s. I want to say 70s, but it might have been earlier than that. It might have been in the 50s. I'm really bad with numbers. A lot of you know that. And if I wrote everything down I wanted to bring up, I'd have notes and Post-its all over my walls. It would look pretty cool, though, unless the FBI ever kicked in my door. Let's just hope that never happens. There's totally not Post-its all over my wall. He said aliens probably roll up their windows and lock their doors when they fly by Earth. Oh, you're damn right. I'm sure they do. And I'm sure they've told all their friends not to come here. There's no reason to. Don't bother. We're obsessed with war and destruction. We burn knowledge. Destroy it. Spread bullshit. That all rises to the top. You know, it makes me wish that's what I wanted to do. It makes me wish I just wanted to do something like that. And then that would be easy. I wouldn't have to deal with being throttled and suppressed. I could just rise to the top. That's not what interests me. He said I was fooled also, still kicking myself for it. I was too blind to see it. Man, I don't think we should blame ourselves. For real. I really don't. I don't. But I know now. Fool me twice, and that's it. You're not going to get 3. We're done. So Lori says, I can never click on your live notification and get here. I have to go to your page every time. Why? I got to figure out. I'm trying to figure that stuff out, guys. I'm new to this running a page stuff. On Facebook, I come from a page that we set up. Or I always talk like I got a mouse in my pocket. I set it up. And I'm trying to find people to help me run it. But I don't know what I'm doing, really. So if you're running into a problem with the page, I'm going to have to reach out to some friends and ask them why that would be. I don't know. But that's weird. Shenanigans. Elizabeth says, such a low vibration town. Essentially. I don't know what town. It must have been something I said. Lori said we didn't plan what we are victims of. No. No, but we're responsible for doing something about it. And it doesn't matter that we didn't have anything to do with it. We're going to have to be the ones that do something about it. And it's going to rise to the awake or whatever. I don't like labels that much, but anyone that's aware of what's really going on to help inform the others, because they're tightening their hold over the narrative very rapidly. I don't like how fast it's happening. It's getting really hard. And they're starting with people that are easy targets, like Alex Jones or David Icke. People like this, they're deplatforming, and everybody's looking the other way. But what about when they start coming for other people? When does it stop being okay? You can't give a little and then be surprised when they take more, because that's what they always do. So it worries me. It worries me really bad, especially when you think of how close we are to living in some dystopian nightmare future from a sci-fi or fiction novel. Many of us could throw out many examples right now of novels and movies that were supposed to be nightmare versions of a future that are our lives. Very thinly veiled. It's crazy. Elizabeth says, this planet under lockdown, not a place of interest to an alien passing by. Low vibrations of fear. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's on purpose. That's on purpose. They already have a new world order. Again, I don't like labels, but just to get us back to conspiracies for a second, there is a new world order. It exists, it's real, and it runs this world. And it has for a while. They have their hold over everything. It's a game, what's going on. They're moving around the final pieces on a game board. I really believe they're just moving everything into checkmate. They have control. I hope we can do something about it, but they're in place. Like Albert Pike's plan for 3 world wars. If you're not familiar with that, he's a 33rd degree Mason, which is the highest degree into all these secret societies. And a lot of these secret societies love his writing. His writings, I should say. And he predicted or planned their 3 world wars in their plan for world dominance. World War I and II played out exactly as he wrote, and World War III is as well. It is a war against invisible enemies. It was terrorism, and now I really think they're going to make it viruses now too. I think viruses are the new terrorists. But now it's invisible enemies that can never be defeated and can be anywhere. Anyone can be a terrorist. If it's not happening organically, you can make that shit happen. You know what I'm saying? It's endless. That's World War III. World War III is an endless war. If you really think about it, we're in 8 wars right now. Just us. World War III is already going on. Brett says ever since the wall came down. Lori says the wall was put up to imprison us. Mexico has a better lifestyle than us now. The wall is to keep us in. It's not to keep people out. It would be to keep us in. I'm surprised that Canada doesn't build a wall. Brett says in a war you win by not going broke. In a war, both sides are funded by the same people. If you look back on every major war, you're going to find that if you trace the money, the same people have profited off every major war. These elite families like your Rothschilds and these banking empires and like huge companies like Ford. And a lot of money's made on war, funding and making money off of both sides by the The real people that run everything don't have countries of loyalty. They don't. They're worldly. They own everything. They believe it's all theirs. They're not loyal to any one place. Rose says silent weapons for quiet wars. That is an interesting document that was found on a copier. It's a top secret document that was found in the memory of a copier. And I don't know if I still have access to it. If I do, we'll go over it. But I don't think I probably got rid of that link. So it was a while back that we talked about it. No, I don't have it anymore. But this is real. You know, they don't acknowledge that it's real. But this is before they knew that these copiers had memory, and this document snuck out to the public. But everything that's in it is what's playing out. And it's a silent war that we're in. World War III is as well. It's a physical war with actual casualties and a silent war. It's a global war. But it was planned a long time ago, and it's playing out exactly as they predicted. Hey, Jay. How you doing? Everything is a rich man's trick, Jay. That's one of my favorite conspiracy theory documentaries. Everything is a rich man's trick. If I was going to recommend just one conspiracy video to you guys, it would probably be that one. You know, that is a very good one. Lori says, follow my live streams on scenarios for the future of technology and international development. Very good, very good. Feel free to share links and check it out. Lori is a fellow live streamer that does streams. Do you still do burn ones, Jay? You still burning them? Or are you too busy now? You too big for us? Can't hang out on Facebook no more burning them. Helen says, wars are just their way of making killing more efficient. I wish I could like that comment 17 times. That is absolutely true. They just want to wipe a large number of us out. They're playing a game. We're literally pieces on a game board to them. They don't care about us. They give a shit. We're numbers, statistics. At best, they feel no pity for us, no empathy, and want to see a lot of us gone. You know, the Illuminati, New World Order, globalist, whatever, elite, predators that lord over us, their goal number is pretty low, actually. A lot of them have publicly even said it, 500,000, 500 million. And that's what's on the Georgia Guidestones. There's a monument in Georgia that has instructions for apparently a future version of humanity after an apocalyptic event, because the very first rule is maintain humanity under 500 million. But like I said, a lot of these elitists have used that number. Ted Turner had said it in many interviews, which is why a lot of people believe that he is actually the one that put the money up for the Georgia Guidestones. And I kind of think so too, or at least involved in this group. Now, the Georgia Guidestones was built by a man named not built, but hate when I go blank on a simple term. You ever do that? It was, what's it called when you ask somebody to build something for you? By R.C. Christian, a pseudonym. It even says that on the dedication stone, that it's not his real name. And he wanted that known, and the only thing he really requested was secrecy. He did not care about money. You can tell I've been trying to research this. I've been looking into a video on the Georgia Guidestones. I just can't figure out which way to come at it. But he didn't really care about money. The granite company that he went to have this thing built, when he told them what he wanted, they thought he was crazy. So they're like, well, we'll quote him something outrageous, something higher than we've ever charged for anything we've ever done, and get rid of him. But he didn't care. He's like, no problem, long as everything's secretive. But for some reason, he wanted everybody to know that his name wasn't really R.C. Christian, because that's even in the. Oh, we've went too long already. I've gone stupid. I've talked myself stupid. Contracted. Thank you, Lori. See, damn this delay. There is probably a 20 to 30 second delay between what I'm saying and what you're hearing. Because I guess Facebook wants to be able to hear it first and make sure that it's acceptable to your ears, because they need to protect you guys and such, and they're all about that now. They are Big Brother as shit now. Anybody noticing that? Ugh. It's scary what's happening. Commissioned. Jay is a boss. Thank you. Where were you 60 seconds ago? I looked really stupid. Did you see me? I was like, it was ridiculous. Commission. Helen said it too. Marie says that is Bill Gates' target number. TED Talk. Eugenics freak. And I have that saved in my computer. I could actually show it to you. I've used it, pieces of it in a video. That's an interesting TED Talk. And, the crowd laughs when he talks about getting population down pretty close to zero. They laugh. He's not kidding. He's not kidding. And there's close to 8 billion of us right now. That's a lot of people gone. And I struggled with what video to pick tonight, because I knew I wanted to talk about conspiracies once I decided I wanted to have fun. I just wanted to have a fun show. I almost picked underground bases. They have whole cities built underground for themselves. Very nice. A lot of these bunkers that we show in the video and that I've seen while looking into that are set up very nice. They're going to live very comfortably during whatever they're planning for. Jay says art. Commission is paying for a piece of art beforehand. Everyone's saying commissioned. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Because that was going to drive me nuts. You know how you get a song stuck in your head and you only know one line of it, and it drives you crazy because that one line keeps repeating in your head? I've heard that if you can finish the song, it'll go away. But I think that's kind of the point. That you don't know the rest of the song. That's why you're in that situation to begin with. So that's shitty advice. Lori says about pandemic. Wait, hold on. Let me go back up here. I want to see what you guys have been talking about, because I want to make sure if somebody brought up a conspiracy they want to get in, I want to make sure I don't miss it. I hate seeing stuff like that afterwards and going, man, I wish I'd have saw that comment. Sandy says we're probably the first generation to go down the rabbit holes in a lot of ways. And these tools that we've been given are spectacular for doing that. But they will be taken away from us, and they are currently used against us. That cat, you probably hear her. She's not in heat anymore. She's being an ass. She wants to hurt the kitten. She don't like it. That the kitten is getting attention now. This is the most ADHD show on the planet. Sometimes I realize how often I lose my train of thought in the moment, and I'm like, wow, people watch this? It blows me away. It just drives me insane. But she tried to hurt the kitten. She was attacking her. I thought they were playing at first. She wasn't playing. Yeah, Lori, the Illuminati wants us dead. And again, I don't like labels, because that allows people to back you into a corner and be like, well, the Illuminati was a blah, blah, blah organization that was driven underground in such and such a time. I know that. I know all of that. I'm fully aware. whatever you want to call them. It's an interconnected web of secret societies. That sounds shitty. Can we just go with Illuminati? Everybody knows what the hell I'm talking about when I say it, right? So, yeah, Squirrel. Yeah, you ever seen that movie? What movie is that? But it's a cartoon movie, and there's a character, a dog. It's Up, isn't it? And the dog is always distracted every once in a while. Squirrel. You know, that's what I'm like. I try to break myself of stuff like that, and I do eventually. Like Jay used to give me trouble about certain words that I would use over and over and over again, or things, behaviors, and helped me a lot because I didn't notice it at first. But once I did, you can't unsee it, and then I got better and learned. So that's how I learn. That's how I grow. I'm experimenting on you guys. Lori said, how can people lay down and take this? Because they don't want to know about it. They're comfortably, willfully ignorant. And they want to stay that way. They don't want to know. Anytime they get a glimpse of reality, you don't think they watch these movies and the subliminal messages don't hit them? This is truth in plain sight. These movies that, like The Matrix. It's a documentary. That movie's more of a documentary than it is a movie. It's a complete analogy for what's really going on. Everything is an illusion. Everything they say in that movie, you could pull the lines Morpheus says in a lot of parts of that movie and put them in any situation to describe today's reality. It's just true. You know, they put a lot of truth in plain sight, and they do that on purpose. Elizabeth said it was a T-shirt. Wasn't there? But I don't know if we're not even probably talking about the same thing. But the dog in Up, I think he did Squirrel. Wasn't that? That was from Up, wasn't it? Helen says, "Look, Dave, cow." I don't get that reference. It's probably from the same damn movie. I'm so sloppy with that stuff. Sometimes my mind is a interesting wasteland of useless information, mostly. Jay says, flood zone and Event 201. Part of the exercise was government agencies flooding the media with correct information and remove incorrect information. Yeah, and I like how you put correct in parentheses and incorrect in parentheses, because it's their version of what is correct and what is incorrect, what is true and what isn't true. Anything that's not a proved narrative doesn't rise to the top. And then these skeptics, people that call themselves skeptics, like, you know, they're very informed because they get all kinds of evidence. Well, do you? Do you really? Because if you're only going with approved, establishment-stamped evidence, you're keeping yourself, you know, just years behind the curve anyway, aren't you? Because you're closing yourself off from ever thinking for yourself, and then waiting until everybody's done that for you, and then prepackaged it, wrapped it up really nice, and handed it to you, and said, "Here's you go. This is your opinion. This is what you believe." And you was like, "Oh, let me see what it is. Oh, I'm so excited." You pull it out, and you're like, "Oh, the 9/11 report," and you read it, and you know, it doesn't mention Building 7, so you don't know what it is. And when people mention it to you, you're like, "Well, what's that?" No, these things are real. Event 201 planned out the response to this exact, and I mean to the T, other than it coming from pigs instead of bats. Exact same thing. And then there was another one called Dark Winter. I'm probably wrong, or I might be right. It's like a 50-50 shot. But there was another one that was very, very close, and that one was a 10-day. Event 201 all took place in one day. They probably had a lunch break. But it was really elaborate. Really elaborate. I made a little bit of a video using some of it, and I watched the whole 10 hours they had on YouTube. It had fake news in it. They made news videos and talked about how to steer the narrative in the media, how to, like Jay's saying, correct and incorrect information. It's all in the wording. They don't really come out and say it, but if you read between the lines, it's very clear. It's right there. Rose said, I came back to your show to support you again after leaving for a while because I couldn't go down the Bernie road again after what he did for the first time with Hillary. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. In hindsight, it was foolish of me. I don't feel like I owe anybody an apology because I wasn't lying. I believed it. You know, I was helping sell a bullshit story, but with good intention. I didn't have bad, malicious intentions when I was doing the Daily Burn. And I'm glad I did that show for many reasons. Another reason that I'm glad that show took place is because it helped me be a better person. It was a motivational show for the most part, is what it really was. I mean, it was about the revolution, but it was a motivational show. So I had to build myself up every day just to do that thing. And that was really hard, and it made me grow a lot. Lori says 3 days, Event 201. It took place over 3 days. Are you sure? I'm going to go with you. Your knowledge and information is probably fresher and newer in your mind than mine, because it's been a while since I looked at Event 201. So we'll go with Lori. But the other one, if it's Dark Winter or something winter, went on for 10 days and was about a coronavirus as well, worldwide pandemic. You know, and then the other thing that I was looking at as a possible show topic today was the CARE Act, the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economy Security Act. You know, the stimulus that was passed, all that money that they gave out, that package, that bill, or whatever it would be called, was introduced by Joe Courtney in January of 2019. That was sent to me by a lot of people. That was really weird. I think he's a time traveler. You know, they say in this, I'm on the government website right now, and they say in there that all they did was rewrite Joe's bill. Why? What for? And did they write everything over? I mean, even the title? Like, did Joe, is that how bills work? Do you just bookmark a number? Like, you're like, all right, I got $50 on HR 748. Anything comes up or we get a chance to move something through, I got some stuff here. We're going to sneak in. We'll pad it with other shit. And then when something happens, they just throw everything on it, and they're like, bam, Joe, here you go. And then they send it through, and the little tags get put into law, which is what the bill was really about from the beginning anyway, the stuff they sneak in it. So is that what happened, or is he a time traveler and wrote a bill about the coronavirus before it ever even took place? Dum, dum, dum. Who knows? Jay says, I'm glad you do the Daily Burn. I respect your fight. I can say I knew the outcome, but honestly, I didn't know any more than anyone else. I just had a gut feeling. And I would get it, too, from time to time. You know, I would get a gut feeling that I'm on a dead-end road here, you know. But then I would talk myself out of it. I'd be like, no. Of course it looks that way. They would make it look that way. And rationalize. You saw me do it every day. Those of you that stuck with me. But I got a lot of you back after the Daily Burn. And I'm excited about that. And it was freeing getting back out of it. So I'm kind of glad that it ran its course. But I wouldn't change it. I'm glad I did that. Helen says HR House Resolution. Okay. That's what HR stands for. But the reason I said bills is because on this page, you go into Gov, and then it's in Congress, and then it's in bills, and then it's HR 748. That's what made me say bill. But, so damn you, government website, for making me sound stupid in my live feed. Jay said they took an old bill, rewrote the bill, and kept the corporation's bullshit in. It should be illegal. It's exactly what they do. They just bookmark shit. They're like, okay, I got all this stuff I want to get snuck into a bill. Hey, buddy, I got some stuff I want to sneak into that bill too. You need a co-sponsor? Come on over, sneak his shit into that bill. And then something happens, there's a bill come by, stamp that shit on the desk, pass it on through. People don't read that shit. It makes it through, and they can sneak a lot in that way. They do. Always have. Lori says, funded by the Gates Foundation. Yeah, these war games, a lot of this stuff traces back to Bill Gates, actually. A lot of it. And Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci and his organization was helping fund gain-of-function research on coronaviruses in bats at a lab in Wuhan. Just saying. Just saying. Put hundreds of thousands of dollars into this research, and now is the leading expert in the reaction to it. So it's all very odd. And then he's tied to Bill Gates as well. They're buddies. So all leads back to Billy Gates, a computer software designer. If you believe his resume, he's not even really that, if you really look into him, but a rich man. Not even a college graduate. It's not an expert in any field. Bought a lot of power, though. And he's more than doubled his net worth in the process. Speaking of people that enrich themselves while doing social work, community service, things for the people. He's getting very rich while doing that. Joan says, I still never got my check. How long do they think people can wait for their crumbs? I haven't either, Joan. And I know I don't owe, because I have a little back child support. I've heard that if you have back child support, you're disqualified from a stimulus. But I wouldn't think, because I only owe her a couple $100. So why can't they just take half of it, pay her off, and then give me the other half? I still haven't seen anything either. So I don't know if we will. Some of us that are still waiting, they don't feel like it, does it? And it is crumbs. You know, only $360 million of that stimulus went to the people. The rest of it went to the wealthy. Elizabeth says Fauci had his fingers all over the AIDS pandemic as well. And that's where that doctor from that video got slandered and discredited, which is exactly why this is the news story that turned me off from talking about actual recent events, was Tara Reade's lawyer has dropped the case. Recused himself as her lawyer. He's not going to represent her. Or she, I don't even know the gender. I just know that the lawyer quit. And I read that, and that was what turned me off. I was like, you know what? Over the story from last night, they didn't disclose exactly that was what it was, but like, if this is just off the little bit of dirt that they've managed to dig up on her, how could you possibly do that after getting this started and going down this road? How could you back out at this point? So that bummed me out. I wanted to do something fun, talk conspiracies. Brett says our military uses Bill Gates software, everything. Elizabeth says it's corralled us in the medical mafia's grip of fear. And they're trying to increase it again with this Rona. I don't want to talk about Rona. Y'all want to talk about Rona? I don't want to talk about Rona. I don't want to get beaten down into submission to where I won't talk about it either, though, because it is the elephant in the room. But they use this stuff. It's the shock doctrine. I'm reading that for a book club, a quarantine book club where we read one chapter each week. And it's very relevant to what's happening right now. This is something that they do. They never let a good crisis go to waste. Hillary Clinton has actually said that on multiple occasions. And they do. They make the most of everything that happens. Anything that comes along like this. Whether they did it themselves, whether they had something to do with it, whatever. They never let a good crisis go to waste. And they always have stuff in their back pocket they're looking to sneak in. You know what I mean? That's how they do it. Joan says if we get it now, it will be a prepaid Visa card that will come with the money on it. I saw somebody talking about that. The debit cards. You know, we talked about this before, but did you see the language in the new stimuluses? Talking about digital dollar and all this other stuff. They're talking about weird stuff now. I think they're creeping us towards the UBI. I think we're heading towards some bad stuff. I hope I'm wrong, but I think and I had somebody tell me that has nothing to do with, because I made a video about Agenda 21. And they're like, this shit has nothing to do with Agenda 21. Okay, whatever. They're heading us towards living in smart cities and living huddled together and getting us off large portions of the land. Yes, it is. It is. You know, they'll be like, well, that's a non-binding agreement. It's not anything. They always put it out there for you. They always show you. They told you. You chose to look away. You chose to pretend it's not happening, but it is. You know what I mean? You made that choice. I'm not making that choice. Too many people make that choice, and that's how all of this stuff carries on. Jay says loaded debit cards would help track spending. Yeah, and then they also want to get you dependent on the system. Like with this digital dollar they were talking about, tracking IDs and stuff at the same time in the same breath. So I just don't like where this is all heading. I don't like what they're talking about. And then like Canada is talking about not ending their lockdown until there is a vaccine. You know, there's never been a successful vaccine for this type of virus, for coronavirus, ever. So, were they just going to keep Canada closed forever? What's going on here, man? I didn't want to talk about it. See, I keep getting pulled back in. It's like the mafia. Someone said that, I think, earlier. Every time you think you're out, pulls you right back in. You can't get away from it. It's like living in a horror movie. It's awful. Yeah, Jay, HR 6666. There's a lot of stuff happening right now that people are refusing to look at. And that's the kind of stuff that we talk about on these shows. And if you dig that, come back and hang out with us. We do this every Monday through Friday, every weeknight at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. So this is the Yankee Show, the Shawn Yankey Show. And I wised up, y'all. If you're here on Facebook, I changed the name of the page. So it will be distinguishable between my own name. And think about that. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing with that page. If anybody wants to help out and help me run it and share content, whatever, help in any way. Don't think I'm wanting you to take on a ton of responsibility. Just, even if you just want to share to the page every once in a while, reach out to me and let me know. I would appreciate it because I would love to get content and grow it. But I finally changed the name to the Shawn Yankey Show to separate it from my name. I didn't realize at first. It didn't strike me. But thanks for watching the show, guys. I would go all night. You know, I hate to wrap up, but I got to get up early in the morning and go to work, do my job that makes me the money, pays the bills. But thanks for watching this show and hanging out. And come back Monday and hang out with us again if you had a good time. We'll see you next time.